helping the safety and security of the United States. It is not helping the safety and security of the world. It is not helping the safety and security of Afghanistan. We need to bring our troops home. And then we need to make a big shift. We cannot ask our military to keep solving problems that cannot be solved militarily.
Wow. Hold on, y'all. I wanted to see if this works, and obviously nobody's going to be watching just because nobody really knows about this channel, but I wanted to do some technical experimenting. While you watch these absolute clowns, all right, who don't stand a chance against Donald Trump, then we're just going to take a few minutes out to see if this even works, because this debate right here is what's happening live. And what I wanted to do is live stream it while it's happening live. And then also I would be talking as well, kind of putting my own commentary on it. And I don't know if the audio is going to be good or if any of this. It says I got one person on here and I can't even believe it, right? Because like nobody knows about this channel pretty much. It says I have one person. Oh, it's Brenda. Man, Brenda, how do you know? How do you know so quick? That's amazing. Brenda's in the house, and she'll probably be the only person in the house because like only 3 people know that I'm using this channel. I haven't been able to talk to everybody and let them know that I've been banned for a couple weeks. I just simply haven't had time to tell everybody. All right, so only like maybe 3 people know that I'm even putting out stuff on this channel. It's crazy. I don't know how you did it, Brenda. I have no idea how you did it. Right? In fact, I'm scared a little bit that you even found your way here. I'm a little bit scared, right? But what I'm doing right now is kind of like some technical work. This right now is happening live. These clowns, these absolute absurdities, the nightmares of America right here who are on the screen. This is happening live. And what I wanted to do is, while it's happening live, I wanted to kind of lambast these people, and I wanted to make fun of them and their responses to these questions. All right. And they don't stand a chance against Donald Trump. And that's unfortunate. I'm a stalker. Yeah, apparently you're a stalker. It's like, how in the world did you get here so fast? It's crazy to think. I don't know, but you did. And I thank you for it. So I'm a stalker. I just got on here and your notification buzzed. Man, that's amazing. I can't even believe people put notifications for when I get on, but they do, and I can't even believe it. You're gonna be the only person probably, just because, like I said, I haven't told nobody hardly about the fact is I'm on this channel posting. I plan to tell more people within this 2 weeks. Maybe tomorrow I'll tell some more people, hey, look, I'm banned off that other channel and I'm on this channel. But I simply haven't had time to do it. I've cut a couple different videos just right now that I'm about to post up in reference to other topics. I mean, I just woke up maybe like an hour ago or something like that. Maybe an hour and a half ago, I just woke up and started doing this stuff. And meanwhile, I got to get ready for work in a little while, so we can't be here for too long, all right, to watch these clowns. But like I was saying, what I wanted to do is a little bit of technical work and see if I couldn't get this live stream to where I'm live streaming the live stream and making fun of them all in live time. All right. I hope it works, and I'm not sure it will, but I'm going to try something right now to see if I can get the audio to where you can hear it. All right. I'm going to put these guys on blast, and I'm going to put their audio to hopefully that you can hear it. And Brenda, if you're out there and if you don't get cut off, I want to know if you can hear what they're saying, if you can hear it clearly in a second. Hold on, I'm gonna see if this is gonna work.
We have a president right now who seems to treat troops as props, or worse, tools for his own enrichment. We saw what's going on with flights apparently being routed through Scotland just so people can stay at his hotel. I'll tell you, as a military...
God, if they could stop talking about Donald Trump for 2 seconds and actually talk about America, that would be wonderful. But Brenda, I want to know, can you hear the volume? Can you hear their audio clearly when I do this?
Exactly that. I will not. Mayor Buttigieg, thank you.
I want to turn to Vice President Biden because the concerns about any possible vacuum.
That's amazing.
In Afghanistan,
I have amazing technology right here,
has been
man.
heightened by what we've seen in recent days on the ground in Iraq. When you were Vice President, President Obama turned to you to bring the troops home from Iraq. You have said on the campaign trail, quote, "I made sure the president turned to me and said, Joe, get our combat troops out of Iraq." There was a major drawdown of U.S. troops, and then ISIS seized, by some estimates, 40%.
Here, I just want to hear this question and how Joe responds, and to see if blood doesn't start bursting out of his eyes and his nose real quick.
No, it wasn't wrong to pull up. I want to answer an Afghanistan question. I've been in and out of Afghanistan, not with a gun, and I admire my friend for his service. But I've been out of Afghanistan, I think, more than anybody on this, and it's an open secret. You reported a long time ago, George, that I was opposed to the surge in Afghanistan. The whole purpose of going to Afghanistan was to not have a counterinsurgency, meaning that we're going to put that country together. It cannot be put together. Let me say it again. It will not be put together. It's 3 different countries. Pakistan owns the 3 counties, the 3 provinces, and the East. They're not any part of it. The Connies run it. I will go on and on, but here's the point. The point is that it's a counter-terrorism strategy. We can prevent the United States from being the victim of terror coming out of Afghanistan by providing for bases, insist the Pakistanis provide bases for us to airlift from and to move against what we know. We don't need those troops there. I would bring them home. And Joe Dunford's a fine guy, but this has been an internal argument we've had for 8 years. With regard to Iraq, the fact of the matter is that, I should have never voted to give Bush the authority to go in and do what he said he was going to do. The AUMF was designed, he said, to go in and get the Security Council to vote 15-0 to allow inspectors to go in to determine whether or not anything was being done with chemical weapons or nuclear weapons. And when that happened, he went ahead and went anyway without any of that proof.
Gosh.
I said something that was not meant the way I said it. I said from that point on, what I was argued against in the beginning, once he started to put the troops in, was that, in fact, we were doing it the wrong way. There was no plan. We should not be engaged. We didn't have the people with us. We didn't have our alliance. We didn't have allies with us, etc. And it was later, when we came into office, the president turned to me and said, Joe, when they said we had a plan to get out, he turned to the whole security and said, Joe will organize this. Get the troops home. My son spent a year in Iraq. And I understand and we were right to get the combat troops out. The big mistake that was made, which we predicted, was that you would not have a circumstance where the Shia and the Kurds would work together to keep ISIS from moving in.
Mr. Vice President, thank you. I want to turn to Senator.
Wow. Okay, hold on, y'all. As far as Joe Biden, here's what I want to say about it. You might say, oh, it sounded like he had marbles in his mouth just now. All right. You might say, oh, it really sounded like he had ADD for real. Like he was all over the place. All right. You might say these hateful things about Joe Biden, but here's the thing. For a guy who's suffered from a stroke, all right, and then recently probably suffered from another stroke, multiple strokes, and has had brain surgery where they cut open his head and worked on his brain. With all that being considered, I think that was a pretty decent response from Joe Biden. All right. If you've had multiple strokes, I mean, if you had your brain cut open and stuff like that, that's not a bad response. All right. Certainly, I couldn't barely understand what he was saying, but it was slightly coherent, y'all. I mean, you got to give him that. You got to give him that. I know you're not going to give him nothing else, and neither would I, but you got to give him that. Some of those sentences were whole sentences. Am I wrong? Not with a gun. Joe to the rescue. Oh, man, yeah. Don't give Joe Biden a gun, all right? He already said, by the way, that he wants to take everybody's guns away, all right? And that if you're a lady and you're by yourself, you should have a 12 gauge shotgun, and that's all you need for home defense. That's what he said. I got you wrong. Man, it's all Joe Biden. It's not me. I mean, I'm just saying I want to stand up for Joe Biden because everybody's been saying, oh, yeah, he can't barely talk. No, he can't barely talk. But, I mean, think about the effort. He gets an A for effort, in my opinion. You got Bernie Sanders up here. Look, we don't know what Bernie Sanders is saying right now. All right, but a long time ago, I want to put this out there, and I've said it before. As far as Bernie Sanders, and he just stopped talking, but you might have noticed earlier, I would have never ever voted for Bernie Sanders for a myriad of reasons. But the biggest reason for me is his damn floppy finger. Now, next time he's talking about something, he's going to be flopping his finger all around like a dead fish. All right. And for that reason and that reason alone, I would have never voted for freaking Bernie Sanders and his stupid floppy finger. I'm tired of his floppy finger because, first of all, his finger is very accusational. When you look at his finger, you think, oh, is he accusing us of something or something like that? Who's pointing at people when talking? All right. Who does that? Go out in public and start talking to people and pointing at them at the same time. It's going to look very accusational. Not only that, not only is he pointing at people, but it looks like a dead fish. He's flopping his finger all around like I've never seen anybody do. All right. I mean, it's freaking amazing. Somebody should have told him, hey, look, stop flopping your finger all around in people's faces every time you answer a question. But however, nobody's going to tell Bernie Sanders nothing because he literally is a criminal and he's criminal minded. But anyways. He had a black eye. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, that's true. Oh, look, check out what he does.
Does not have free elections, but still you refuse to call Nicolás Maduro un dictador, a dictator. Can you explain why, and what are the main differences between your kind of socialism and the one being imposed
his kind of
in
socialism,
Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua?
Well, first of all, let me be very clear.
Oh, look at his finger.
Anybody who does what Maduro does is a vicious tyrant. What we need now is international and regional cooperation for free elections in Venezuela.
That
so
stupid
that the
floppy
people of that
finger.
country can create their own future. In terms of democratic socialism, to equate what goes on in Venezuela with what I believe is extremely unfair.
Is it unfair?
What I believe in terms of democratic socialism. I agree with what goes on in Canada and in Scandinavia, guaranteeing health care to all people as a human right. I believe that the United States should not be the only major country on earth not to provide paid family and medical leave. I believe that every worker in this country deserves a living wage and that we expand the trade union movement. I happen to believe also that what, to me, democratic socialism means is we deal with an issue we do not discuss enough, Jorge, not in the media and not in Congress. You got 3 people in America owning more wealth than the bottom half of this country. You got a handful of billionaires controlling what goes on in Wall Street, the insurance companies, and in the media. Maybe, just maybe, what we should be doing is creating an economy that works for all of us, not 1%. That's my understanding.
That floppy finger. Brenda says this. Hey, isn't democratic socialism an oxymoron? Yeah, I believe it is. All right. That was the ramblings of a whimsical criminal by the name of Bernie Sanders. You know, it's interesting. He always brings up certain countries and not other countries, like to include Canada and the Scandinavian countries, as he referred to them. You know, it's interesting because, okay, we could all debate on what's the best kind of way that we can get our medical health care down and stuff like that. In reference, and we already all know this, in reference to the Scandinavian countries and stuff like that he's talking about, yeah, they have universal health care. Yeah, a lot of people don't like it in America. They don't like the idea. Yeah, we could debate on it. But those Scandinavian countries he's talking about are not socialist countries. In fact, some of them came out and said, hey, look, Bernie, we're not socialist countries. Yeah, we have a universal health care, and yeah, that's kind of a socialist concept, but the rest of their country is not socialist. All right? So he brings it up because obviously his followers are plumb retarded. And he knows it. He knows that his followers are plumb retarded. Like, for example, he's extremely corrupt. He's got multiple $1 million houses, and everybody knows this. He drives around in luxury cars, $100,000 cars, and everybody knows this. All right, he's a criminal. And just he's very petty as well. Like, he won't give nobody no kind of money. He won't pay his employees any kind of money. They actually had to complain, and this is on record, for not getting paid enough money. And then when they say, oh, they're not getting paid enough money, then he starts laying them off and cutting their hours. This is on record, all right? That's that democratic socialism, and yeah, it is an oxymoron, and yeah, it is plumb retarded. He's in the 1% right. When it comes to Bernie Sanders, for sure, he's comfortably in the 1%. And also, I don't think he's ever had a real job in his life. Oh, and also his wife, she's been scamming universities and stuff. That's kind of what she does. All right. Just absolutely bold in your face criminals. That's what we're looking at. We missed Julian Castro, which I want to catch one of his responses, but he's probably only going to talk 2 or 3 times the whole night, because even amongst the Democrats, Julian Castro is a joke. I mean, this is a whole stage full of jokes, but even Julian Castro can't even barely make it on the stage. I wanted to see one of his responses just because he's a native from San Antonio, and you know what I'm saying? That's where we're coming from. But we're probably not going to see another response to it. Instead, we're going to watch this guy. I believe this is Cory Booker saying some gibberish. Of course, it's going to be gibberish. I want to check it out real quick.
We end our national anthem with Home of the Brave. It's about time we make this a better home for our bravest.
Congressman O'Rourke, Hurricane Harvey hit this town.
Oh, they got Beto. We're going to see Beto one time and then address Brenda in a second.
The last 5 years have been the hottest ever recorded, and we have a viewer's question about this. What meaningful action will you take to reverse the effect of climate change, and can we count on you to follow through if you guys are against it?
Yes, we will follow through regardless of the political consequences or who it offends, because this is the very future of our planet and our ability for our children and grandchildren to be able to survive on it. We will make sure that we get to net zero greenhouse gas emissions no later than the year 2050, that we are halfway there by 2030, that we mobilize $5 trillion over the next 10 years to do that, that we invest here in Houston, Texas, with pre-disaster mitigation grants to protect those communities that are vulnerable to flooding, given the fact that this town has seen 3 500-year floods in just 5 years. You'd like to think you're good for 1,500 years, but you're not. They're coming faster and larger and more devastating than ever. We're also going to make sure that we free ourselves from a dependence on fossil fuels and embrace renewable wind and solar energy technology, as well as the high-paying, high-skill, high-wage jobs that come along with that. And then we're going to pay farmers for the environmental services that they want to provide, planting cover crops, keeping more land under conservation, using no-till farming. Regenerative agriculture can pull carbon out of the air and can drive it and sequester it into the soil. That's the way that we're going to meet this challenge, and we're going to bring everyone into the solution.
Many of you.
Man, I got to give it to Robert Francis. That was very articulate. All right. I mean, it was very articulate and a little bit complex. Basically, what Robert Francis was trying to say is that he wants to stop the earth and spin it back around the other way. He wants to take the sun and put it on a thermostat, and it's only going to take like a few $1 trillion or whatever to do it. I got to say, that's kind of reasonable. That Robert Francis, his ideas, they're kind of reasonable. I mean, it's not going to be that hard to completely change the earth or whatever. And humans, we're kind of a pesky, we're a problem for the earth, right? We need to stop being problems. Everything we do, all the carbon is bad for the earth, you guys. And I know it's very complex, but Robert Francis just kind of laid it out. Carbon is extremely bad for the earth, and if we can completely eradicate the carbon off of the earth using only $5 trillion, then why shouldn't we do it? I mean, we've got to do it for our children and our grandchildren. All right. And we're going to go into some more of these comments and stuff. Man, Brenda, you are on point. You're on point, but I wanted to address this first one about talking about Bernie Sanders and the food lines. And yeah, you can find it easily on the internet, I'm sure, in which Bernie Sanders was talking about, bread lines, when people are standing in line, in long lines to get bread from the government, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We should be doing that. For that and that reason alone, I wanted to punch Bernie Sanders in the nose for eternity for saying that people standing in lines to get bread from the government is a good thing. No, actually, that's not a good thing. That's a nightmare. It's a nightmare situation. But Bernie Sanders has been kind of like drumming up that whole thing and running on those policies ever since his inception, ever since he was a young man and looked exactly the same as he does today. All right. He's always looked like an old man and a disgusting old man with a floppy finger. All right. So let's go back to this. Guns cause climate change. That's true. That you're right on point. Robert Francis will explain that a little bit better. But guns cause climate change. Actually, he's pushing the GND of FEMA. Was knocking on my friend in Ohio's door, and I'm sure that that's true. And if that's not true, I'm sure that has happened time and time again. All right. They want to buy people's land because they say it's going to flood in the area she lives in. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they do. And when they buy that land, they're going to somehow construct some sort of carbon eliminating features to that land, which will reverse all the devastating effects that humans have. And like I said, they're going to put a thermostat on the sun to make sure that the sun doesn't act weird. And they're going to take the earth and spin it back around the other way. It's only going to take about $5 trillion. And they're going to take away all your guns. And they're going to knock on your door and say, hey, we want your property. And that is socialistic democraticism. All right, pretty much. We got Harris right here, and I hate to say it. I was about to call y'all you guys, but Brenda, I hate to say it. We're gonna listen to one more person. I don't know if it's Harris because we're cutting her off right now. We're gonna listen to one more person do one more response, and then after that, I gotta get up out of here and actually start getting ready to go to work because I actually go to work for a living. I don't know about any of these clowns on the stage, but I do go to work for a living, and I'm sure that, everybody else knows what the heck I'm talking about. But these clowns on stage, they have no idea what I'm talking about. So let's listen to one more response, and then we're going to get up out of here. This is Andrew Yang, you guys.
Those corporate interests, but we have to face facts. Money finds a way. Money will find its way back in. So what is the answer? The answer is to wash the money out with people-powered money. My proposal is that we give every American 100 democracy dollars that you can only give to candidates and causes that you like. This would wash out the lobbyist cash by a factor of 8 to 1. That is the only way we will win. And as someone running for president, I'll tell you, there's the people on one side and the money on the other. The only way for us to win is if we bring them together.
Thank you, Mr. Yang. Lisa.
All right, Brenda goes to work for a living, unlike all these clowns on the stage. Andrew Yang, he's kind of becoming my favorite, and I think he just sealed the deal right there when he said we need to give all Americans 100 democracy dollars. We need to give them all 100 democracy dollars. I don't know what he's getting at, but I think he just made himself my favorite candidate of all time. All right, Brenda goes to work. I go to work. People go to work actually to get money and stuff, and we do it desperately to be able to live and pay bills. These people on the stage, they don't have no clue what that's about or anything like that, but they do want socialism and they do want democracy. And they want it right now, and also they want your guns, and also they want carbon eliminated off the earth. We just got to spin the earth around back the other way, and also we got to turn the sun down because the sun's getting too hot and stuff like that. It's only going to cost $5 trillion, all right? So don't you even worry about it. The last comment is going to come from Brenda, obviously. She said, talk about buying your votes, $100. Can't even buy a gun with that. Oh, man, they're going to buy back your gun. With they're going to come knocking on your door and say, hey, can we have your gun? We're going to buy it back with 100 democracy dollars we got for you right here. Oh, man, y'all, it's September the 12th. I've had a wonderful time. Thank you, Brenda. You're amazing, even though you're a stalker and stuff like that. And I appreciate you so much. And I'll holler at you a little bit later. It's September the 12th, and we're all up in the tribulation, probably. They should give out some Beano. I'm sure that they got some Beanos for you, Brenda. I'll holler at you a little bit later.